HDB resale prices are down in the third quarter of this year. The resale price index fell 0.9% from 206.6 in the second quarter to 204.8 in the third quarter. This is the first decline since the start of 2009 when recession hit. Transaction volume was also lower. It's down by 13% from 5,235 cases in Q2 to 4,529 cases in Q3. In the rental market, subletting transactions are down as well, falling 5% from 7,891 cases in Q2 to 7,505 cases in Q3. Next month, HDB will offer about 4,950 BTO flats in areas such as Bukit Batok and Hougang. In all, HDB is on track to launch 25,000 BTO flats for the whole of this year. And to talk about what the numbers mean, I have with me in studio Eugene Lim, Key Executive Officer, ERA Realty Network. Eugene, thanks for joining me. As noted, the resale price index down 0.9%. What do you think is the reason for this?
Well, primarily is the curbs on the amount of loan that the buyers can take. The mortgage servicing ratio is now capped at 30%. And also the loan tenure is now 25 years maximum instead of 30 years. So this has resulted in a lesser amount of loan, which therefore lower prices.
Now, the first decline since 2009, does it signal that the market is stable?
Well, it is good news for buyers because prices are coming down. And but what it also does in the market is that the loan curbs has resulted in lower resale volumes. So it's actually not so good news for those of us in the property agency business.
Now, yes, you're right. The median cash over valuation is falling. So this is good news for buyers. But how do sellers feel about this?
Well, for sellers, anybody who's selling the property today is still selling at a high price. Will still make a reasonable, sizable profit. It's not selling at a loss. Most of the flats in mature areas are still holding their price. It means their premiums are still pretty high. It's only those who are in the outskirts that perhaps may have to see lower prices.
Will COV ever fall to zero?
Well, it's unlikely because the economy is still growing and we are in a situation of full employment. So I think when COV comes down to an attractive level, you will have more buyers enter the market. And so that will help prop up the resale HDB market.
Okay, Eugene, stay on with this. I'd like a take for after our next story. Now, growth of private home prices slowed in the third quarter, affected by the property loan curbs implemented in June. According to URA, private residential prices rose 0.4% in Q3, unchanged from the flash estimates. But that's down from the 1% increase in the previous quarter. The price growth in Q3 was largely driven by the mass market segment, where prices climbed at a slower pace of 2.2%. Meanwhile, prices of private homes in the city fringe fell 0.9% in Q3, the first decrease for the region since the first quarter of 2012. And prices of high-end homes in the city centre dipped 0.3%. Looking ahead, URA says there are some 107,000 private homes and executive condo units expected to be completed in the next 3 to 4 years. Eugene, let's discuss the private residential market. There's an increase of 0.4% in Q3. Is that good or bad news?
Well, that's just a general increase, but it's actually it shows that the market is stable. Rate of price increase actually is still overall slowing down, and that shows that the cooling measures that have been put in place are taking their effect.
Now, let's talk about ECs. Almost 1,400 new units were launched, more than the previous 2 quarters. Is this good news for those thinking of upgrading?
Well, ECs make an attractive choice for those who are intending to upgrade from HDB, primarily because they are not affected by the loan curbs as well as the ABSD loan regime. So it makes a logical choice for them to upgrade from HDB into EC.
Right, going forward, well, we're heading towards the end of the year now. Where do you see prices going?
Well, prices are likely to continue to stabilize as far as prices is concerned. Pricing is key now. To move any project, the prices have to be priced attractively, bearing in mind the loan framework and as well as the tax regime.
So you feel that prices will be moderating from now to the end of the year. Anything that you think might affect that?
Well, basically, if to move sales, you have to price attractively. And because buyers today would want to put their money in a project where they could get best value for. So it is a buyer's market, and buyers are basically more discerning and more choosy going forward.
So at this point now, what would you say to potential private home buyers?
I think there are a lot of options available, and I think most buyers would like to, go for the proven formula of good product and good pricing and good location. That you can never go wrong.
All right, Eugene, thanks for those insights. And I was speaking to Eugene Lim from ERA on the private residential market outlook.